And now, these messages.
Here are a few words about Levi's jeans and cords.
Levi's. As evening approaches Toothopolis, so do the cavity creeps.
Oh, no! Cavity creep!
Hurry, the crest's up.
Crest gel! Crest gel! Cavity creep spotted!
We make holes in teeth.
Crest gel! Crest gel with flirt that will fix them.
Repelled by crest gel!
Yay! Crest!
Watch treats
See your dentist.
and fight the cavity creeps with Crest Gel.
Tastes great!
Fight cavities with Crest.
Look out! Your little buddy Gilligan is at it again, out in outer space, right after In the News.
Are you ready for space-age fun and cosmic comedy? Then suit up with a smile, sit tight, and get ready to launch the laughter with Gilligan, the professor, and the whole crew on Gilligan's Planet, next.
In the news, a sudden surge in airplane hijacks. After several years of relative quiet, the skies between Miami and Havana are busy again, with hijacked jetliners heading to Cuba. We'll be back with airplane hijacking in the news.
Sponsored by Chuck E. Cheese's. You can smile, America, with Chuck E. Cheese.
You can smile, America, with Chuck E. Cheese. You can smile, America, with Chuck E. Cheese. Food and games and all kinds of features. For a taste of pizza and theater. You can smile, America. Smile, America. You can smile, America, with Chuck E. Cheese.
And now, airplane hijacking in the news. It seemed like every other day this month, someone has taken over a plane heading to or from Miami, Florida, and forced it to fly to Havana, Cuba. Taking over a plane and forcing it to fly to somewhere other than its destination is called hijacking. The word goes back to days when bandits would hold up wagons and carriages on the road. Many of them would hail potential victims with a cheerful hijack, then rob them when they stopped to answer the friendly greeting. Airplane hijacks have been going on for about 15 years. Airport officials have installed X-ray machines and metal detectors to find bombs and weapons. Even with tight security, a few hijackers still get through. Some hijackings have been for political reasons, but most of those to Cuba have been due to homesickness. Cuba is an island nation just 90 miles off the coast of Florida, but the U.S. does not have formal ties with the communist government there, and there are no regular flights between the two countries. But there are many Cubans living in the U.S. Many came over in a huge boat lift 3 years ago. Now it seems some of them want to go home, and they figure hijacking is the only way to do it.
Stay tuned for more treasure hunt later. The citizens of Toothopolis remain ever watchful for
The cavity creeps! Crest! Crest!
We make holes in teeth!
Quick! Warn the Crest team! Crest! Crest! Cresty's trying to tell us something. The cavity creeps! Crest, come on!
We make holes in
Let's give them the brush with Crest's fluoride.
Yay!
Watch treats, see your dentist, and fight the cavity creeps like the Crest team.
Fight cavities with Crest!
Too little short for a stormtrooper.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Luke's just not a farmer, Owen. He has too much of his father in him.
I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
Force will be with you. Always.
Star Wars. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Now playing at a theater near you.
We'll be back with the second half of the Popeye Hour.
Here's another interesting story that's in the news.
In the news, rappelling and rolling to the Olympics. Ice skating in the Olympics made Dorothy Hamill a star. Now, some roller skating champs want to become big Olympic wheels, too. We'll be back with roller skating in the news.
Sponsored by new Hubba Bubba, with bubbles that won't stick to your face.
He's a-coming! He's a-coming! There's gonna be a gunfight!
There's a brand new bubble gum in town named Hubba Bubba. It's soft, juicy, and delicious. Best of all, Hubba Bubba lets you blow great, big, fat bubbles that won't stick to your face.
That gun, my bubble gum?
Big bubbles, no troubles.
You Hubba Bubba bubble gum.
And now, roller skating in the news. Roller skating is becoming one of America's popular pastimes. For some, it's a new way to disco. For others, it's just a lot of fun. But some really good skaters long for the chance to compete internationally. The trouble is, roller skating is not accepted as an Olympic sport. Getting a sport or game into the Olympics isn't easy. It has to be popular in at least 40 countries on 3 continents. There has to be a long record of participation in world and regional competitions. The last new contest to be admitted to the Olympics was judo in 1948. Roller skating has already met all these requirements. For 42 years, roller skating championships like these in Texas have been held around the country. Some of these super skaters are graceful and talented, like Olympic ice skaters. And like the best of them, roller skaters take a few spills, too. This year, roller skating was included in the Pan American Games. And with its increasing popularity, there's new pressure to have it admitted to the Olympics. But 1988 is the very earliest that could happen, and other sports like tennis, badminton, and baseball are also waiting to be admitted. I'm Christopher Glenn with roller skating's Olympic hopes in the news.
Here comes our fearless flying hero in the all-new adventures of Mighty Mouse, plus Heckle and Jekyll. Ouch! Those masters of mischief.
Premiering September on CBS.
Bugs Bunny and the Roadrunner will return after In the News and these messages.
In the news, an agreement that lacks essential ingredients. Israel has agreed to pull its army out of Lebanon, but only if Syrian and Palestinian forces also leave Lebanon. And they say they won't. We'll be back with Lebanon in the news.
Sponsored by...
Oh, ice cream and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together with a classic combination. When a dark, delicious cookie meets an icy cold sensation, like a creamy, crunchy, special taste in chocolate. O-R-E-O keeps ice cream from getting lonely. Keeps ice cream from getting lonely.
Oreo and Oreo with double stuff.
And now, Lebanon in the news. Israel invaded Lebanon last June to force Palestinian fighters out of southern Lebanon, where they were a constant threat to Israel. Fighters of the PLO, the Palestine Liberation Organization, were driven north to Beirut, Lebanon's capital. After weeks of shelling, the PLO agreed last August to send its fighters out of Beirut to other Arab states, and a ceasefire was arranged. American, French, and Italian troops came in to help the Lebanese army maintain order, while Lebanon's newly elected president, Amin Gemayel, tried to restore leadership to a country torn apart by civil war. Meanwhile, Israeli troops remained in southern Lebanon, while Syrian troops and Palestinian forces dug in north and east of Beirut. With help from the United States, Israel and Lebanon finally worked out an agreement and signed it this week. It calls for Israeli troops to withdraw if Syria and the PLO also pull out. But Syria denounced the agreement. The Soviet Union has given Syria new and better anti-aircraft missiles. Meanwhile, the PLO leader Yasser Arafat visited his forces in Lebanon and called for renewed warfare against Israel. Other Arab states, however, support the withdrawal agreement and are urging Syria to accept it also. I'm Christopher Glenn with Lebanon in the News. In the news, making good on a campaign promise. Hoping to restore faith in public officials, President-elect Carter recently set up strict guidelines for his appointees. A code of ethics is in the news. In the news. During the campaign, President-elect Jimmy Carter promised to restore people's faith in government by setting up strict rules of conduct for public officials to follow. True to his promise, Mr. Carter last week established such a code of ethics. Part of the code states that political appointees must make detailed reports of their finances and sell or place in trust businesses which could conflict with their government jobs. To comply with his own rules, Mr. Carter must turn over the family peanut business to a person, unknown as of yet, to sell or lease. Ever since Mr. Carter emerged as a political candidate, attention has been focused on his family peanut business, a good example of the conflict of interest issues officials frequently face. Peanuts are a high-risk crop. A farmer can have one good year and the next be wiped out completely because of a crop failure. Because of this, the government guarantees the peanut growers that it will buy all the peanuts they are unable to market. Many legislators want to change this law. If a bill is passed changing the guarantee, as president, Mr. Carter would either have to okay the bill or veto it. To avoid a conflict of interest such as this between his job as a peanut farmer and his job as president, Mr. Carter gave up his holdings in the peanut business. New guidelines for government officials are in the news.
Get set for action and adventure in a world inhabited by towering monsters and creepy creatures. Join the journey of a family struggling to escape and find a way back home on Land of the Lost, next.
And now, this message.
Here's the Hart Family Nursery.
Fun is being part of the family that's all Hart.
A nursery?
Yeah.
You put it together. Hart Family Deluxe set sold separately.
Out of bed, sleepyheads, darling kids, time for a bath. Wow, a baby bath. Now for a snack, then how about a little nap? Fun is being part of the family that's all Hart.
The Hart Family Nursery comes with everything you see here. Hart Family Deluxe set sold separately from Mattel.
In the news, the deep-sea dives of Deep Rover. Recently, scientists have been exploring the depths of California's Monterey Canyon in a new type of submarine. We'll be back with some of their underwater discoveries in the news.
Here are a few words about Levi's jeans and cords.
Levi's.
It's going to rain cats and dogs, and in other news, Tommy officials.
And And now, Deep Rover, down in the depths, in the news. Deep Rover is a new type of submarine. It dives more than 2,000 feet below the ocean's surface. But what makes it special is that it can go just about anywhere the pilot wants. Unlike other deep diving craft, it is not tied or attached to ships on the surface. This freedom has opened up a new world for underwater explorers. Here, off the coast of California, they dive into an undersea canyon larger than Arizona's Grand Canyon. What they've seen and photographed has amazed even experts. An eel pout that protects itself by coiling up to try to look like a type of jellyfish that other fish wouldn't want to eat. Siphonophores, colonies of animals divided up so that some parts are responsible for food while others are in charge of protection. And a narcomedusa, a jellyfish that has its own lighting system called bioluminescence. That's not unusual down here, where the sun's light never reaches. 80% of the animals here generate their own light. Occasionally, when scientists want to capture one of these rare animals for further study, they just suck it up with Deep Rover's slurp gun. It doesn't hurt the creature. These deep dives have changed scientists' view of the number of animals living in the ocean and opened new possibilities for feeding mankind with life from the sea. I'm Christopher Glenn with the discoveries of Deep Rover in the news.
This is CBS.
For life-threatening medical emergencies, call 911. Call 911 for fire emergencies.
Please, quick.
What's the problem?
Someone's at my door. Please, get someone here quick. I should have...
For emergencies, call 911 in Maricopa County.
Anne Bancroft in 7 Women, tonight at 10:30.
We're doing...
Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition met the greatest earthquake ever known. High on the rapids, it struck their tiny raft and plunged them down 1,000 feet below to the land of the lost.
Come on, get out of here. Come on. Come on, Holly, let's go.
To the land of the